Welcome to Between the Lines this Thursday night. We're not to August yet. It's the 20th of July. So we're getting there. We're moving ahead. We've been talking to a lot of important people and trying to figure out what's going on. I did complain about potholes a couple weeks ago, and I see some potholes being repaired, so that's a good thing in Oak Ridge. Now we're fighting over roads and industrial parks and doing some sense. County Commissioner Michael Foster's here today, and I've known Michael since he was a little kid. His dad, great servant of the public schools. Larry was a good guy. I still see him over at Apple Blossom.
He loves Apple Blossom.
He does love Apple
That's
Blossom.
That's where he gets his lunch a lot of times.
And Katie and the kids are good?
Everybody's good. And summertime's fastly going away, so my son's on at a camp with my in-laws this week, and the girls and I and Katie have been at the fair, so we've been enjoying the six best days of summer.
Michael and Katie have twins. They're going, it's a rising pre-Kers.
Right, yeah.
God, I'd love to have those days back.
I say they're 4 going on 15 is what I say at my house.
We took a picture of Caleb. I should give credit where credit's due. Sabre keeps a picture of Caleb and posts it every year since pre-K, and this is the 12th. What do you got, 12 years, right? So 14? Well, I figured it out. But anyway, it's just amazing to go back through that and look at all of that. You enjoy it while you can.
They grow fast.
They do. They do. And your son and your twins. County Commission, 1 year almost.
Yeah, coming up on 1 year. Kind of hard to believe it's been 1 year.
A lot of things going on. I was looking at some of the highlights of the meetings and the different things. And Quentin's a contained community like Oak Ridge, and it's easy to kind of keep up with Quentin because, you got a council, but you got, it's the same guys. You got North Quentin, South Quentin. It's pretty easy to, Core Hills, come on in this way. Let's go out towards the interstate, and a lot of needs, but gone a lot of years in Quentin they have without a tax increase, and now here we got a. County's gone a lot too. I mean, the revenues, the new revenues. I saw John Alley the other day and talked to him. Amazing how much homes have gone for, increased revenues, a lot of building. I don't think we're going to have a revenue crisis anytime soon, but who knows? You're on budget.
I'm on budget.
You're on there with my wife.
I am.
Okay, and there's some other people. Sabre,
we have a good budget committee. We feel like it's a strong
but
committee.
it's a young group of people.
Yeah.
I mean, they're smart. They're in the old days. Yeah, let's give old Fred $2 million. Let's give you got to measure it down. You got to measure it down. There's 8 of them. You got to figure out what's important and pass it on. But I agree. I think it better man. I'd like to see the opioid money used for treatment.
Well, and and I
wasn't
think
happy
that's
with that. But that's if you don't have any other options, they're going to do what's in front of them. So I think you guys got some options there, and I think Judge Spitzer and the district and other things will come up with more options. I think that's what money's designated for. But I'm just thinking through the budget. Our budget was so clean. Y'all did such a good job with it. I can't think of anything else. The sheriff's increase was necessary. I've been traveling in other counties, 20%. We had Rome County Mayor on here last week talking about how they had to negotiate it out and help, and they ended up with 20 in Knoxville, and it's just hard to keep anybody.
It really is. And I mean, even in my previous stint with the city of Rocky Top,
that's right.
I mean, officers would leave, and we had to do the same thing. And you want to, and we did, and we gave raises across the board. So that was important for I think budget and county commission to make sure we gave raises to all employees. But the sheriff's department, because of who you're competing with, and that there is a small pool. It's not like the old days when there was a lineup set up to, you had 50 applicants for one position. Now you have maybe one. And then if you're lucky, they're certified. If not, you've got to send them to the academy. And so there's a lot of costs related to that. So it was necessary, I think, to get our pay up for our officers.
I wouldn't be a jailer for $25,000 a year. It ain't happening. I mean, it's a high-stress job with a lot of rules and regulations. As we always say, the judicial system, there's courts of record. You can do a lot in Sessions Court and get away with it because somebody will fix it. But in juvenile in the 2 states, you can't. Same thing. I mean, everything. Am I going to get sued? Am I doing things correctly? Contraband. That's a tough job being a jailer. And I think those people deserve raises, and I think most of our officers have. And we've got to hold people in. I mean, if Social Security people are getting 8 and 10%, thank you for that, by the way, and other people are getting other things, and you got to be competitive. We got to be competitive, and it'll catch up with us someday. But I think right now we've got to go out and make sure that Anderson County, we're just using Sheriff's Department as one example, doesn't allow its trained officers and people that have worked for it to go to some other county that'll pay them more.
Well, and I think that's the biggest thing too, is you send somebody to the academy, you get them back, and then as soon as they get back, they get a job offer for somewhere else for $2 or $3 more on an hour. And those people that have families, they can't turn that down. And so you don't want to become the training ground for other departments. You want to make sure you're keeping good people at home. And I think that's one of the things with the pay on longevity for the officers. I think that's going to keep a lot of our good officers here instead of jumping ships, because they know the longer they stay, there's increase in that longevity pay. So, and I think that's something that I know HR is looking at trying to do for the whole county, so we can keep people and not have to retrain, because there's a lot of costs associated with retraining people, hiring new people.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to keep good staff. And I think one of the things they did too, they looked at the benefit package this year and kind of made some adjustments to that to make that a little bit more cost efficient, and help where they're more of their pay is actually staying at home, because we know it's staying at the grocery store and it's going to every other thing that cost has gone up this year. And I know people, even with the pay increase, feels like they're taking a pay cut because they're not getting to keep as much as their money when they go to the grocery store and the gas station.
I was looking at your resume. I didn't realize you had been in Lake City that long. I call it Lake City, sorry. Rocky Top, Lake City.
I call it Lake City now too. They don't pay my paycheck anymore. So
yeah, but you were there 5 or 6 years.
I was would have been 8 years come September. Yeah, so 7.5.
I can remember way back. People don't realize in 1959 they won the state basketball championship against everybody. Anyway, the
Were
Lakers.
you on that against them?
Katie was the first to call me old. You remember that story, right?
I'm just kind of checking my dates.
Remember we were looking at the literature and Katie says, you don't understand it because you're old. And now here you are picking on my 59 team. So I guess the Fosters have got me surrounded. But they're both right. I am old. I'm tired too. I was on the 73 team, but we did pretty well. Went to semis. Tell me about your new job.
So I'm with a company called Public Entity Partners, and we do risk management and insurance for cities. So it's a lot of the same, and quasi-cities. So we do school systems, city school systems.
Commercial type stuff, though, not individuals.
So, right, it's all municipalities or related to government entities that have a connection to it. Like we wouldn't do a county system, but we do some joint ventures up in Sevierville. But I cover all of East Tennessee. I'm the loss control consultant, so I go in and meet with our people and look at their losses and say how we can give them some ideas of how to improve those losses, work with them, suggest safety things, especially. And then as laws change, we try to update them on laws that would affect HR, that would affect workers' comp. So we cover workers' comp.
Private company?
Actually, it's a public company. So they are a pool. We're a pool. So we are, we started by 2, Athens, and I think Hendersonville were the 2 cities that started the organization, because back when the tort law liability went in effect in the 80s, and I guess in the 70s, there wasn't any, it was hard for cities to get insurance because at one time they were had an indemnity and they were immune from lawsuits, just like the state is now on a lot of things. So when they started the company, and then we have loss control in East, West, and Middle, because we have obviously cities all across the state. So I cover the East Tennessee area from Johnson City all the way to Mountain City, and then the Eastern Time Zone. Yeah, so I work out of the house, but then I'm on the road when I go. And it's a lot of the same people I worked with when I was in the city government, because city managers.
You had the
so I know a lot of that, and I. Especially when I go into a city, I feel like I know city operations because I've been in that world. And then the ones that are probably the newest to me are like CARTA is one of our customers, and so we were down there, and so that's a transit, so it's a quasi-government. So those are the things I'm still learning, but the city operations and a lot of the same people, so I'm excited to be there. It's a good organization. They've been there, been around for 40 plus years, so it's a good place to be.
Does you represent Clinton? You live in Clinton?
I do.
Okay, you can't. I understand.
District 2, so I live in the city of Clinton, and we have District 2 city limits of Clinton, and then a small section in the county going out towards the interstate on Seacon Springs Road. There's about 3 districts that come together on that road. So, but most of our constituents are in the city limits.
And I see you sit next to Tyler.
Well, there's a space between me and Tyler. So
there's somebody else?
Denise, I don't think they wanted me and Tyler beside each other.
I want to know if that was a mentor-protege relationship, and you were bringing him along, or how that worked. Actually, Tyler's one of the smartest guys probably up there.
He's got a lot of experience.
And he's got a lot of knowledge.
A lot of knowledge.
He's good. I mean, he's got a lot done. And I see a pattern of the young people, all kind of like Denise and you and Vandergriff and Mays and Aaron and other people, all in that 40 range, but which 40 years old in August.
That's right.
40 years old.
Big birthday coming up.
That's right. How old's your dad?
He'll be 72 in August, and we actually share a birthday, so he'll be 72. Same day. I was best gift he ever got.
Cuts back on the presents, that's for sure. We'll get that going. So what do you think County Commission's biggest challenges are now? You're coming in, you're learning it. You got a windfall of money out of some of these federal budgets and stuff, so you've got a little bit more transitional time and stuff. I kind of look at things like, it was interesting. I was talking to Mayor Burr, and I've talked to some other people. We got a road out there we want to pave, right? And it's going, and they're surrounding my wife and trying they were lobbying. So anyway, they get out there on that road, and you look at the revenue that those businesses generated 3 times the revenue for the county that they have for the city. So maybe there's a role for the county in paving that road.
Yeah, and it is the county's industrial park that road goes into. And I know it's in the city limits of Clinton, which is my district. And I think, we've always kind of partnered with the city of Clinton when it came to those industrial parks because they do sit in the city limits of Clinton. But we all get taxes off of them, right? So the county's getting taxes, the city's getting taxes. I think it's something that...
it didn't seem like a high amount. They wanted $20,000 or something?
I think it was 50% of whatever the bid came in.
That seems fair.
And I think we're looking at taking industrial money that we've have put off for industrial uses. We've done that with when it came to the TCAT building out in the I-75 Industrial Park. So that was something that we had partnered on, and so the county gave money to. So it's something I supported. We're going to run it back through budget because it was on the budget, and then budget got canceled because there wasn't really anything else on it. So it's going to come back through budget. And I think it's something most people can support. I don't think it'll be 100%, but I think there's a place for it, and there's been partnerships along the way with other municipalities too. When we've done, I know Norris was one. We matched a grant for them.
We've done enough grants. I've wrote enough grants, and cities matter, and there's some other federal money coming into the city of Clinton, and that requires some cooperation between you and the city. I think that's true on some grants and some other things. Yeah, but I think that's worthwhile. Hadn't been paved in a long time, I heard.
Long time. And a lot of traffic.
And that's the road that comes right off of the Charles C.
Yeah, J.D. Yarnell Industrial Park Drive, which also is my grandfather on my mom's side. So J.D. Yarnell was my grandfather. So maybe there's a little pride.
You kind of bound in on that.
Yeah, right. On that one. Family tradition there. But
you better vote yes.
But one of the things I think you asked about the kind of going forward, as a county, I think one of the things we're going to have to look at, because there was some things that, budget-wise, we have money in the bank, so it's prioritizing what we want to spend money on. How does that look for the future? Because at some point, the money will slow down. Obviously, we've had a lot of new homes come in.
Some of that money's not reoccurring.
Correct, and you don't want to spend non-reoccurring money on reoccurring things. So one of the things we looked at, EMS, what is the plan for the future with EMS? How do we fund that? Because that is a group that we've had to do one-time money for. Even one part of the sheriff's budget we passed with one-time money.
Well, we've been chasing money in that department for a while. I think it's been a decade or more. But it's an essential service. It's just, if it's managed right, you got to support it and do what it's doing.
And there's a need for our citizens need that service. Like you said, it's essential. And
especially in Oak Ridge, that's all we pay all that money. We don't get. We get a jail and we get an ambulance. That's about it. A few things, but I think, all in all, I mean, when you look at all of the budgets and you see everything that's going on, you have to feel pretty good about it. I'm really excited about the young people. The young people make me, anybody under 50 that's on that commission, because there was a time, like the judicial average age went from mid to high 60s down to 49 in one cycle. And that means you got stability for a long time. Right. Let's take a break, Michael. Give me 2 minutes or whatever we got, and we'll be right back with Michael Foster.
Recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local, state, and federal courts. A husband and a father, Daniel is a Rule 31 certified mediator who has represented hundreds of families in Chancery Court. Call Daniel Forrester Law Office at 865-457-7900 for a free consultation.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
When should you get tested for COVID-19? You have symptoms of COVID-19, such as runny nose, congestion, sore throat, fever, cough, shortness of breath, muscle pain, headache, chills, or loss of taste or smell. Current testing recommendations say everyone should get tested immediately if they have symptoms of COVID-19. If you have symptoms, be sure to follow recommendations about how long to stay home and away from others. For more information, visit our If You Are Sick or Test Positive webpage.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. We're talking to Anderson County Commissioner Michael Foster. Been involved for a while. Grew up in politics. He's turning 40 next month, but he's got 20 solid years of experience. We see a whole lot of office holders in Gary Long's my age. Rex he's going into his 60s next year, and we got a lot of other people. So, I mean, basically, we have a whole another round of people. I figure they got 4 more years, most of them. John Alley's 61 or something. So I don't know how long you'll hang on forever if you let them now. I'm just going to tell you, I'm a political consultant. They take that money forever if you let them. But I see a whole new wave of candidates, and you're probably at the top of the list. I know you don't want to talk about that, but you got a lot of work to do. We had a interim juvenile judge picked this week. Had 2 or 3 good qualifications, but you know, I like Tim Elrod. I think Tim has done more for the community and for Anderson County in different ways. I just think he's excellent choice, and I think he'll do a good job. And I'm surprised he had time to do it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and you know, it's really good to see. I mean, there was 3 solid candidates.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think we could have made a bad choice as commission. Yep. You know, anytime that somebody's willing to serve in a role like that, especially a temporary role that's not, you know, taking a position that, I'm going to run for this position when it opens up, but you know, they really are taking other time. They all have, you know, law firms that they work out of or jobs, and so that's giving up time from their main job to come and work for the community and serve the community. So
and we broadcast out of here, and not my ownership, but Brad and everybody. We broadcast high school football all fall long. That would be impossible without Tim Elrod's help. So we're glad to see him get some, I don't know what the word would be, appreciation for all he's done, I guess, and being qualified. So good for Tim. And good for the other 2. I appreciate all 3 of them applying. That's what we got to have more of. So they're going. That's, as we said, Brian Hunt, who's the elected juvenile judge, is in the military reserves. He's a captain JAG, I believe he's captain. I don't think he's major yet, but he's captain. And he has got to go on assignment for 9 months, called up for 9 months to go on assignment. And so Tim's going to sit in and handle that period of time.
And we really appreciate, I want to say, Judge Hunt for his service to the country, and obviously, you know, getting called up, that takes him out of his career of being the juvenile judge for a while, but I appreciate his service to the country.
Were you the salary's in the code? You can pay Tim, right?
That was something I think we can. They're not going to do it for free. I don't know how it all works on.
Well, he's the one doing the job. He ought to get the salary.
And so,
who figures that out?
I'm going to say finance.
But don't you have to approve a certain amount of money?
Yeah, so when we look at stuff, if it comes through budget, we'll look at it, but there is the code, obviously, for general sessions, or for general sessions, but for juvenile, it's a county position.
Money's already there.
Right.
I got it. How much of that money they pay out? Somebody has to figure it out and get it approved and all of that stuff. Okay, you're in Clinton. You
Yes.
kind of overlap between Clinton City and the Anderson County and all of that stuff. What do you see as the biggest challenges for Clinton? There was a lot of talk about development in South Clinton. It kind of phased out on us, and I haven't heard much since. Downtown, I mean, the Daugherty building, there's 100 things going on, but tell me what's happening.
So I think, when you start thinking about Clinton, and one of the things we talked about earlier was the industrial space. There's this, we're out of the industrial space. I think you continue to look in housing. I mean, there's not a lot of places for new development with housing. You got a lot of, and if you talk to realtors, there's not a lot of houses on the market in Clinton. And when they do, they go fast. So
go fast everywhere, yep.
South Clinton's probably the area that has the most land with infrastructure there, where you could build a subdivision, where you could do water, sewer, but there's just not a lot of places in Clinton that have a lot of.
What about the interstate out there?
And going out to the interstate, you've had a new subdivision go in behind kind of there where Walgreens is, Hunter Trail, that area, that one right by Anderson County High School. But even out there's not much land left in the city limits and or has infrastructure. Now, I do think there's capabilities to run continue infrastructure out there that way, and then maybe even going up Hillvale, which is not in the city limits, but there's some property up there that could probably be developed and still run some utilities. Because, as you know, when you're putting a subdivision in, utilities is the key to it. You got to have utilities, you got to have water, sewer. And then, I think you're looking at schools for the city, and even with the county. I mean, Claxton Elementary, the school's making a move there to buying property to build their new school. And I think when you look at Clinton, the elementary schools in Clinton, if we do have growth, where do those students go? Because they're pretty full now. So it's kind of
Kelly's done a good job.
Oh, absolutely.
She's been
city
on the show
schools are good.
times.
County schools are doing good. So.
Yeah.
I think it's important and as the county commission that serves that area, and I think the same thing you'd say about the people in Oak Ridge, we want to partner with the cities and how we can work with them and how I can work with the city. Because a lot of the calls I get, the issue is a city issue. And so making that call and having those relationships to be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, I got a call from a constituent, they got a concern with this, and then putting them in the right contact with the people in the city, if it's a codes issue or if it's paving. I know you mentioned paving here in Oak Ridge and patching holes, and those are the things, and having those
I don't get it. I lived in Pittsburgh, New York. I've lived all over the place between my 21st year and my 40th year, and I don't see, we don't have any weather. I don't understand why. Now, my wife is smarter than me. I think everybody on the county commission would agree with that, but it has to do with the way the roads are laid and the weather and all of that kind of. She explains it to me, but I just don't get, because in the old days back in the 80s, we had guys in Pittsburgh. They'd come down here and buy a used car in Tennessee, drive it back and sell it to somebody because the undercoats and you know what I mean. We didn't have the winter down here they do up there, so their cars were in better shape in a used capacity. Just kind of hustler used car guys.
A lot of rain, obviously with the rain and
storms here. I didn't think of that.
Your runoff, you got a lot more development now, so the runoff has. So you start thinking about that. There's more paved areas, more water runoff, sewer lines, water lines. So aging, asphalt just doesn't seem to last as long as it used to either. So, but I'm no road expert by any means. I just know that roads are one of those things you got to make sure they're paved or people ain't happy.
What did J.D. Yarnell do?
So he actually helped. So he was the county judge back before they were county mayors and county executives. He served 2 terms as the county judge, and so that would have been 16 years. So they'd been 8-year terms back then. Mm-hmm. So it'd be like county mayor, but they were 8-year terms. And one of the things he actually helped develop the Eagle Bend Industrial Park. So he would help recruit the first industry there, and back many years ago.
A few years before my time.
Yeah.
I got there during the bowling years, and in that situation. Oh, well, that's interesting. I was just thinking about that because some people, there've been like a bunch of road superintendents, and there's been some clerks, and a lot of their sons and grandsons are in the business, in the government, which makes sense. We get a lot of rap for. I mean, county governments and around the state get a lot of criticism for what they would call nepotism. It isn't really technically nepotism, but it passed down in that situation. But you grow up around it. Yeah. People don't understand. Their children grow up around it in the courthouse, and when they get older, they want to, you kind of want to do what your father did or go to school.
I sure didn't go in the school system. So my dad wanted me to be a teacher, and I was real quick. And I love what our teachers do. I was not cut out to be a teacher, and so
no patience for the kids. Right.
I love my kids, but you don't want me to be babysitting and watching other kids. It's just not my strong suit.
Katie, we're going to leave that one alone.
Yeah, I'm going to let my wife is a kid
Let
expert.
that go, Katie. I'll get some input on that. What about what's the Oak Ridge people want to know? Quentin football.
Okay.
Keith is a senior now.
Yes.
Division I prospects potentially. Is Quentin going to be a lot better this year? I saw Severs in line.
What did Severs say? Because love
he don't talk. Him and his wife were in line with me yesterday. Dick's good, and their son's got another year.
Yeah,
he's a big kid.
A big, strong kid.
Yeah,
saw him.
His dad's pretty strong.
Oh, he is. Yeah. He's a lot stronger than his uncle. Is Tyler his uncle or cousin?
Is Tyler in that mix?
Yeah, Tyler's. Yeah, Tyler. So I guess they're cousins. He's a lot stronger than Tyler. Better football player too.
Was in 6th grade. He's doing his thing. So I don't know. I was just wondering, Oak Ridge Quentin, could it be competitive this year?
It was very competitive last year. Remember, it came down to a fourth down play. Remember, there was some controversy there, but we won't talk too much about that. But it was a competitive game.
In the third quarter, didn't they get out on them in the fourth quarter?
Still close.
What was the final?
I don't remember the final, but it was close. It was only maybe a touchdown or two. A touchdown.
Brad, what do you got for us?
7 points.
Yeah,
how much?
See?
It's 21-14.
21-14.
Okay,
See, I told you
got me on that. So now you're at home.
Yeah, home. Yeah. New turf field there. I guess this is year number 2 or 3 on it. Nice facilities. And, I think Clinton's obviously made improvements each year, it looks like. Last year I think some defensive issues.
He's done a good job, I think.
Yeah. They can score points. They scored points last year. You got to be able to stop some people. You look at that Campbell County game.
Got to get deeper. Got to get deeper. But their student population is about the same as Oak Ridge and Anderson County. All three are the same. So Anderson County's got a full-fledged recruiting program. It's kind of tough to compete with that, right? But they do a great job.
They do. Congratulations on the big state
was that a great
state
game?
title. Yeah.
I go to Richie Noah every once in a while, and I kept telling him 25 is a different kind of player. Yeah. I watched that kid. I watched his son in Naval Academy now. I watched that son, and even though I wear a lot of orange, I have season tickets to UT, I do everything. I'm a Notre Damer at heart.
I've seen your post.
Yeah. So between the two, I have a pretty full schedule. But Navy opens with Notre Dame in Ireland.
Okay.
So I said, I asked Richie going over. He said, he didn't know. But
are you going over is the question?
No, I'm not going to go over. I'm not going to go over. Cars are already banging me up. I don't want
yeah, right. You
they won't let me fly the plane, so it's good. But I want to go. My wife and I want to go.
That'd be a great trip.
We just got to go. We haven't been to Ireland. I got family, and we got a lot of people involved. But we want to go. She's so busy, though. She works all day in probation. My work's at a desk and a phone. She works all day in probation, of course, and then she has to do the county commission. She takes it seriously.
Well, and I'm glad she does, and I think that's important. I think a lot of, especially even old and new commissioners, they do take it serious, and they take the issue serious, and they care about.
Well, I'll say it. You don't want to say I'll say it, but the new commissioners seem to be more buttoned down, wanting to get changes done, get stuff done, and they're better prepared. And I just see it. I see it. When the average age is going way down, I think so. You got one. I'll leave it alone. We'll see what happens in 2 years. I'll leave it alone. But I think we have an election next year because Aaron's got to defend his appointment. Right. So, and you got a couple other things going on. So it's going to be fun to watch, I think. I just want to see a youth movement. We have one of the top guys. I'm a big Phil Yeager guy. Phil's smart, But he's real smart on the budget. You don't retire at 40 if you're not smart. But he knows money. But anyway, Sean Gleason in Oak Ridge is one of those once-in-a-generation guys. If you ever get to meet him,
I've met him once. I've had just a small conversation. Yeah. You can tell he's bright and got a lot of experience. I think he's probably bringing some really good experience.
Well, he's 44, and he's just got so much going on. I mean, he was the head of a corporation. He's just done a lot. He's the president of a company, IB3, helped sponsor our show and some others. But I think he's got Marine veteran intelligence. He's a smart guy out of Philly, so we have a lot. We get to joke a lot, right? He's a Pittsburgh guy. He's a Philly guy, so we get to joke about it.
And a lot of economic development experience too. Just from his experience there.
He's working on West Oak Ridge hard.
Well,
I think we need an airport. I would normally be neutral, but based on pharmaceutical and isotopes and all the reading I've done, it probably would be a very good thing to have. And I think everybody in Oak Ridge, actually, that commission never is unanimous on anything. I mean, council, and they were unanimous on this. So,
and I think too, you look at just where Anderson County, Oak Ridge, where we're located, and especially with the nuclear money that in the future with nuclear, with energy, we're in a great place for development and growth. And with the plants, there's just a lot of opportunities in TVA. And with the governor signing $50 million towards nuclear, putting that in the budget, and a lot of that going here local.
That's right.
So that's
a lot of representation on that budget.
Absolutely.
We got a lot to look forward to. Let's take another break, Chandler, and let's come back and talk to Michael a little more about Clinton.
Daniel Forrester has been recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local, state, and federal courts. A husband and a father, Daniel is a Rule 31 certified mediator who has represented hundreds of families in Chancery Court. Call Daniel Forrester Law Office at 865-457-7900 for a free consultation.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference. So we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. We're still talking with Michael Fox. We're going to talk about his committees a little bit. It seems like every commissioner has to serve on 4 or 5 committees. Budget's your big one because they split them up. Right. Half of them go to operations, half of them go to budget. And budget controls the money, operations controls the planning, I guess, or the.
Yeah, they're the catch-all, it seems, for everything else that's not tied to money.
Well, in my world's federal mostly, and you have appropriators and you have authorizers. Right. So the operations will be more like in that sense if you want to get something changed. Let's talk about budget first. As a department head for 10, 12 years, it's pretty simple. You just transfer things between codes and you move on when you need money. Right. But that is not the purpose of a budget. The purpose of a budget is not to get down to April and say, I want to take this 38.4 I didn't use and put it over here in part-time labor. And that's the only way you can control budgets. There's been excess money. People have been turning money over. So what do you see when you look at the budgets for the year and the allocations? What are you and others watching for to control that budget? What will you be watching in each person's department?
I think the one thing we look at is, especially when things come to budget, if it's a transfer from a line item, let's say office supplies to not really data. Let's say data at office. You're not really looking too much at that because those are things that, okay, what do they had to use money for? It's new money, reoccurring money. Because sometimes you'll even, somebody, we need to move something to part-time because they ran out of money in part-time because they had a full-time position they couldn't fill. So, okay, well, that's not new money that we're spending. It's just from a code that we couldn't fill a full-time position compared to, hey, I hired a new person. I want to use my part-time money to finish full-time money. Well, then next year, are we needing an increase? So is there going to be an increase on next year's budget when we look at those kind of things? A lot of the stuff, and our finance department does a really good job. Robbie's
good.
And Robbie does a good job with that. A lot of experience with that.
Almost 30 years.
And so a lot of things that come to us, he has an explanation for it. The department heads have to explain what they're transferring for. And, we get a lot of money that comes in, especially you look at some of the fee offices, they get money coming in a code that has to be used in another code. So, we do a lot of transfers where, okay, we're going to adopt this new money coming in, they're going to spend whatever on that data that they have. So we keep an eye on that. But anytime there's a new purchase, one-time money, is it one-time money or is it multiple year money? Are we, are we financing something that's going to continue on? I think that's something we all kind of keep an eye on. Because we understand things pop up. There's an emergency situation, and it wasn't in the budget. Okay, it's one-time money. We're going to fix it. It's going to last us for the next 20 years. I think most of us have been on board with spending that kind of money. We've not said, oh, no, let's not spend that. But I think everybody's got a little bit of different, I've got a lot of experience from budget from being in the city, and we had a real tight budget, and so every dollar there wasn't a lot of extra spare money.
But I've watched you guys, and you say no when you need to say no. In the old days, they rarely said no. But you guys come in and say, no, we're not doing that. I mean, I've seen it 3 or 4 times, and there's a sense of pride, I think, in doing a good job with that.
And I think like our ARPA funds, we still have some ARPA funds to designate that we've tried to use.
Define ARPA for our viewers.
So ARPA funds are the federal money that came down on the American Rescue Act. That we got a large amount that was sent. But
ARPA means what? American
Recovery. Yeah.
Okay.
AR.
I'm with you. Okay.
American Rescue Act money.
Stimulus money.
Stimulus money. Okay. And we've used it for projects one time, a lot of one-time money.
Where it should go.
Right. And infrastructure, water, sewer. Some had to be used for water, sewer related projects.
I mean, Gary got a lot of money.
And Gary got money.
And we needed it.
Helped us get caught up on a lot of road projects. And I think the next thing you're going to see is with bridges and some of the stuff with the state doing with their projects, kind of prioritizing getting some of their projects going again on bridges and repair, that there'll be some money spent for that, and we just got some new money from the state.
Did we not do much is the idea that we didn't do much during stimulus in those areas? Or?
Well, I think they just, when it first came out, it was based for infrastructure, and then they kind of changed the rules, so there's that loss of revenue that you kind of can use on really anything that's government related things. And so we gave bonuses to people that for working during COVID, that rewarded them and thanking them for their service. There was some things, so it just opened up a little bit what you could have a little bit more flexibility. But I do think, like you said, we gave money towards paving, and that Gary was able to get some more roads paved that weren't in the budget because we didn't. Paving's gone up, as you know. Everything else has gone up. Cost of paving has gone up.
Oh yeah, and, sure it has. No question.
But I do think with the state, they're looking to put some more money in locals to help with local, like with projects, just to keep the roads moving and having more buy-in by the communities. We just got another $3 million from the state out of their budget as a grant, and we had to do a match on it. But $3 million coming back into Anderson County to do for infrastructure.
So you're on the highway committee too, just kind of gradually sliding over from funding it to overseeing it. What role how many people on the highway committee?
I think there's 5 of us. So we've only had one meeting. It's one of those that's not, budget meets monthly.
Like nominated.
Unless, right. And then.
Something needs to be done?
Something needs to be done. You call a meeting. So budget's obviously a standing meeting. Operations, those are standing meetings. We didn't have a budget during July just because brand new budget. There wasn't a lot of transfers to be made yet, since we just about 4 days into the new budget. We had 2 holidays during that.
They'll find you.
They'll find us. Say August will be pretty busy. And then, we look at, so you look at those things with highway. If there needs to be a meeting, they call. Just like I said, nominating. There's a lot of those that we don't have standing. Rules is one that I'm on too, that we it hadn't met in 2 years, and now we're meeting monthly because we are reviewing our rules. Had to do some changes, wanted to make some changes, and
I don't think anybody would understand what rules does. I mean, the rules are what?
So
give me 3 or 4 rules.
Yeah, so the County Commission has a set of rules we follow for our meetings. The agenda, where do citizens speak at, how many times a commissioner can speak, what topic does it go to?
Time is the key. Get them down.
Get them down. Get those meetings a little bit shorter.
I mean, what was the deal with people coming into the public segment 3 weeks in a row and talking about, libraries? I get it. You got one opinion or the other, but I'm not sure. And I told Josh this, but I'm not sure exactly what the format should be and how many minutes they should be allowed to speak.
And we do allow citizens 3 minutes to come talk about anything on the agenda or not on the agenda.
And I'm talking about both sides,
right?
Not
Both
one
sides.
side. Yeah. Okay.
And there's things too. You look at if it's a lot of people there to talk about. Is it something we need to send to a committee so a committee can take more time? Because we do try to run things through the committee where people tend to have more time to talk. There's not as long of an agenda, so you have more time for discussion compared to county commission. You've got agendas from 6, 7 committees, and if you spend 30 minutes on each of those or an hour on them, you could be there from 6 till midnight, and sometimes we've had to be there that late if there's something to do. So I think it's the Rules Committee's looking at how we can have things flow better. Is there a way to best keep people following the rules? And that's commissioners too. We're only supposed to talk one time on a topic. And the chair has a lot of leeway to let somebody else speak if they want to speak twice on a topic. And when that debate ends, when we call for question. So rules are looking at a couple different things. Like I said, the layout of the agenda, where do department heads speak? Because we do have a section for the county mayor, for any other department head that wants to come,
right.
The school system to give a report. So we do have those in our rules and where that's laid out in the agenda. So
the Rules Committee is basically for the functioning of meetings and government. It's not necessarily for what time somebody should open in one office? Or
correct. It is for county commission rules that we regulate ourselves when it comes to not state statutes, but when it comes to how we're going to Robert Rules of Order. And so the Robert Rules of Order we follow unless we have a rule that states otherwise, and we follow our rules if there's that place. What it takes for something to get put on the agenda. That's one of our rules. How is it a 2/3 vote, 3/4 vote? Simple majority. Or if something failed in a committee, how many votes does it have to come up to bring it up in regular? So those are just things rules are looking at. Are there things that need to be adjusted? Because like I said, we had 7 new commissioners this time around. Now we got 8 with Aaron on there. So those things, we looked at, and the old commissioners that were already there that have been following these rules or had these rules, that is there something that we're bringing from the outside that, hey, we want to see it done? So a lot of that's going through rules. You mentioned Phil Yeager earlier. He's kind of the parliamentarian, the unofficial parliamentarian, so he comes to rules and we get, because Robert McCamey's our parliamentarian, but Phil has a lot of knowledge when it comes to that.
Robert's been there a long time. He's smart.
He has.
Yeah.
And so Phil comes to our Rules Committee a lot, so we get some clarity from him on some things, and we use our law director for that too, and make sure we're not interfering with something that's a state law. And now there's a new law from the state that came down about making sure local governments have to give time for citizens to speak. You do have to give them opportunity to talk about things on the agenda. When are you posting your agenda? So they put some new rules in too, and so we've looked at that and how do we. And a lot of our rules were already there that allowed for that, but we want to make sure our rules are staying within statute and that we're not going to get ourselves in trouble.
Tell the people what a consent agenda is.
Consent agenda is an agenda that items that maybe we call non-controversial or that majority of the people will support. So we put it on the consent agenda. We vote on the consent agenda. We don't have to take it line item by line item compared to, we do a lot of our.
So any commissioner can pull something out of there.
Correct. So if there is something on the consent agenda that a commissioner wants to discuss, if there's no discussion on the consent agenda besides if somebody wants to pull it off, we do a lot of our resolutions that are congratulatory, honoring somebody. We do all that during the consent agenda because no one's going to vote against, recognizing, somebody retiring or something like that. So, and if somebody does have a question on it, we will pull it off. We have a lot of our minutes from our committees that are like non-voting committees or like non-committees that don't really make kind of decisions, or if their committee is just a informational kind of committee, like we have the fire commission. They don't have any authority to make decisions, but they can make recommendations to the mayor or make recommendations to the county commission. So their minutes can be on the consent agenda. We might pull them off to discuss something, or we look at the animal shelters. They have a committee, and so those could be on the consent. Or tourism, who has the board. So those are the things that can be pulled off, but usually they're on the consent agenda.
Let's get them on this discussion. Let's take our final break. Brad, take us out here for 3.5 minutes, and we'll be back.
Daniel Forrester has been recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local, state, and federal courts. A husband and a father, Daniel is a Rule 31 certified mediator who has represented hundreds of families in Chancery Court. Call Daniel Forrester Law Office at 865-457-7900 for a free consultation.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
When should you get tested for COVID-19? You have symptoms of COVID-19, such as runny nose, congestion.
Daniel Forrester has been recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference, so we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. Hurry.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Welcome to our final segment. We're going to finish up between the lines this last 12 minutes, maybe more closer to 10 or 11 with Michael Foster. We're learning a lot. I want to talk about 2 things that have been controversial, or at least, first let's talk about tourism. That's been very controversial. So the way I understand it, I don't follow it much, and Sabre doesn't talk much about things to me because she knows I don't know anything. But apparently tourism was going to sell their building. This is one of the examples of the young people being strong. Sell their building and move in with the chamber. The cost was excessive. The commission didn't like that idea. So there were some other things. So I guess if you're a Clintonian, you're going to support stuff like that. But overall budget, it seemed a little bit disproportionate. I don't know how much tourism. I have friends in tourism. They say it's all online now. I mean, it's just so much ad placement and everything. You don't need as much. So rather than debate the worthiness of all that, what I really want to know is the building's sold, the original loan's paid off, the other money's in the county coffers. What I want to know is, where are we at now? Are they moving into with Bear Stevenson? Is that still the plan?
Yeah, that's where they are. The building has sold, and they have closed on the building, so they had to be out right there at the end of June. So they are renting space at Bear Stevens building there in Clinton, and so they...
Some ADA adjustments?
So they had to do some adjustments. You know, it is upstairs going up to it, but, you know, we do have space for if we needed somebody. Obviously, they can come down and meet somebody if they needed. Because it's not a welcome center anymore. Because
that's right. It's office.
It's office. And so they are renting that space. And like I said, we sold the building. Hopefully some development will come out of that with selling the building.
Tax revenue, sure.
Because that is something that I think when we looked to sell the building, it was to originally, obviously, was to move in with the chamber, and because they do a lot together. But then when that didn't pass and kind of regrouped, and we did sell the building, so we think hopefully there's still some development opportunities. Being out by the interstate, you would think there is with no one spending that kind of money without just to sit on the property. I wouldn't think so.
Yeah,
and they didn't buy it for the building, right? They bought it for the property.
That's exactly right. Okay.
And so tourism, and
it's still alive and well.
Yeah, and tourism, and Stephanie is great. She works hard for tourism, and she knows the business. And one of the things people say, it is online. A lot of it, there is digital marketing. But you got to have somebody that knows the industry and knows and do the events that we have and have the hands on the ground. Because it's not just visitors coming to stay at North Lake. It's coming fishing tournaments and Windrock, and so there are promotional things.
Windrock's grown big.
Oh man, and it really has, and they've done a really good job of promoting and their growth. I mean, they've added on to their campground out there, which is more revenue for the county. Because now the state's collecting the hotel motel tax, but the short-term rental is being collected by the state and then sent to us. So that saves.
And there's some industry there. I mean, Scotty and the guys up there, they got the school going. There's some other stuff, and I don't have a feel for how many people a year come in there, but it's in the thousands.
Oh, it's in the hundreds of thousands.
Is it really?
Yeah.
They ride that park?
That many people come visit. They have.
But that would be like 500 a day, or so the trails accommodate that?
I mean, they got a lot of trails, but they have over 100,000 people visit a year, which is crazy. And their campground stays busy.
Well, it's better than being on your phone all day.
Yeah.
So
I guess when you have as many acres they do and much land, you can spread a lot of people out.
3 counties or whatever. Tell me about the senior center. How's it doing?
Senior center, that's going good. We've put money aside to do some rehab. There's the kitchen. It's been a little bit slower to get that project going than I know the seniors would like. And got stopped at the Anderson County Fair last night. Got asked about it, but we have approved the contract and the people that put in the bid. We accepted the bid. We've added on some things that we had. When we did the bid, it was for the kitchen, but we also asked them to price and put in for options 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 if there were some things while they were there because a lot of times your cost is it's a lot less if somebody's already there because the mobilization is a lot of your cost when you're doing construction. And so if they're already there, can we get a break?
Well, I know commission approved 3 different upgrades they needed, 3 different things, and I don't know what all they were.
That's the question I've got at budget, because I got asked last night, so I'm going to ask about it when the construction will start. So we've approved the bid, it's been to commission, we've approved the money, it's just getting a start date.
Well, I'm going to talk about your most important board. You got rules, but you're on the beer board.
I am on the beer board.
So how many people on the beer board?
I think there's 8 of us.
And you basically regulate who can get a beer license and who can't.
So all beer, and we talk about alcohol beverages, anything that's less than 5%.
Yes.
And so that's regulated locally. So the beer boards and things outside the city limits, only for the county. And that could be a grocery store. And so it could be on premise. So a restaurant that was in the county, or if it was a grocery store or something, that would be what we call off-premise, that you're picking up your beer and leaving with it. So we regulate that.
How many businesses in Anderson County sell beer either in a restaurant or in a store or in any kind of store how many different businesses are on the charts in Anderson County?
I'm going to have to ask Jeff Cole that.
How many would you guess?
I say there's probably 15 beer license.
Is that it?
Because, and just because of most of our stores and restaurants are in city limits, so that's all through. And maybe you were asking for the county.
Yeah, I got you.
I thought you were asking for the county. But, yeah, if you count all the cities, you're talking.
Oh, yeah, hundreds.
But
when you say 15, you mean outside of Clinton and Oak Ridge?
Correct. Because, City of
Norris,
well, yeah, and Norris would have their own beer permit because they're in the city limits. But you're talking like the Dollar General in Claxton.
Yeah.
They have a beer permit. That's through the county.
Yeah. And
the Weigels
and the bar there, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So little places like that would have to go through you.
Yeah, if they're in the county, they would go through us. Weigels there on the highway in Claxton, that goes through us because they have a beer permit. So we don't have a lot of new beer permits because we don't have a lot of new.
How long have you been there? A year?
On the beer board?
9 months. So no names. How many beer licenses have you pulled in a year or revoked?
None.
But have you suspended any?
We haven't had. And so county, when they do compliance checks, if somebody's for the minors, we have not pulled any since I've been there. Now, when I worked with ASAP, that was one of the things we partnered with them, with the beer board, and did a lot of their compliance checks and kind of helped with those. And they had I remember one that was out Clinton Highway. They had a pull. So
how's your old boss doing? Stephanie, right?
Yeah, Stephanie.
How's she doing? Where's she
She's
working?
doing good. She has a consulting firm. So when she left ASAP, she has a consulting firm, and she does a lot of training for coalitions, and she helps with the state. There's a state coalition that she helps as the executive director on that. So she does a couple things, but no, I don't see her as much as I used to. And then ASAP has a new executive director just recently, and
I saw a post on that.
Yeah, Kayla Sanderson. She's married now. I don't know her new maiden name, or that's her maiden name, but she's a local girl from Anderson County and came back home to fill that position. Good organization.
In Saber's district here in District 7, we have the Justice Center. They do a great job. Most of them do a great job. We need more. I don't know what I'm looking for. I mean, counseling. I think Russell and Dave have something going at the jail in one of the pods. They're converting it. Is that correct?
Well, and we just got the new money for the grant, the violent crime grant that is out there, and that's one of the things we talked about, the opioid money. I think there's a lot of opportunity. I know you talked about treatment. I think there's some money there that needs to go to prevention, because a lot of that on the front, especially the money that's designated, because there's some of it needs to go towards recovery of the county and the money we put into it, and there's a lot that needs to go into how we can help citizens and we're talking generational use now too. So really need to look at some prevention money and how we can prevent kids from starting, and because we know once you start there's a high recidivist rate on that.
Thank you, Chandler. 3 minutes to go. We've covered a lot. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Don't play the humble marker. Just tell me what you really want to do. You see yourself staying in political service? And that kind of
I think so. Obviously, I like being on commission. I like serving. I'm going to be in Anderson County unless something happens and I get a nice offer to go to the state. But I love Anderson County, and Anderson County will always be home. My kids, I'm from here. My kids were born and raised here. I converted my wife from Middle Tennessee, and this is home. And she loves Clinton and Anderson County.
Well, that's a nice area, really.
It is. Good people.
West is doesn't have the Smoky Mountains, Middle Tennessee, some of that stuff. But I'm graduate MTSU. I was there 4 years, 5 years. But it's a different kind of environment. Where do your kids go to school?
Clinton Elementary is where my son goes, and then
pre-K on
that. And then my girls will go to North Clinton. That's where the pre-K is so they start pre-K in August. So
that's had a great history up there too. I mean, it's kind of like Briceville. It's had an amazing success story in North Clinton and the challenges.
And good people there. Good. I can't say enough about the teachers and our administrators in both the city and county schools. I mean, just good people and good leadership, and really, we got a lot of. Like I said, Anderson County is a great place, great community.
Folks, Anderson County Fair is still going on tonight, tomorrow night, and Saturday. You guys get out there. They've had good crowds.
They have had good crowds. And weather actually has held off for them. Yeah. So hopefully this rain will move out.
We had a little bit yesterday, but the senior event, it's 300-400 seniors. It
huge,
was
huge
everywhere.
Crowd. Huge
it was
crowd.
Everywhere. So that's a great, it opens every night at 5, and I think it's open until 9, unless you're a kid. Bed at 9, or for us grown-ups who are waiting to get to bed. That's melatonin
kids,
time.
right?
Used to be Bud Light time. Now it's melatonin time. That's what that time.
We were there till about 10 o'clock last night, and wore my kids out and wore me out.
Yeah, the little ones can go forever.
Yeah,
and mamas go pretty good too. But they're looking at you like it's time.
It's time.
Yeah,
Let's wrap it up.
I get that.
My wife thinks I talk too much when I get out there.
Yeah, it's what your job is. We got to talk to the people. You got to get out there and talk to the people. I appreciate you coming on. I've known you a long time. I'm glad you got out of Rocky Top. That's a dead end. Sorry. I mean, you did a good job. You worked hard, but I mean, it's just kind of landlocked and it doesn't integrate as well maybe with others. And that's not saying anything about them. I love the people of Rocky Top and the leaders. I just think for a guy like you, you're well educated. You need to get up and move and do stuff. So that's where I'm at. I got 10 seconds. Anything you want to say?
Just glad to be here. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to doing it again.
Appreciate your service. Michael Foster, thank you for watching.